What weird quirk does your family have? The double clap butt slap warning. For quite a while, my large family found it highly entertaining to playfully slap each other's butts. It was somewhere between football players. We swear this is manly and that actually kind of hurt a little. Well, we decided that fair warning was in order, so that we had a chance of evading. This consisted of clapping twice, sometimes a fast clap and tap in what felt like one smooth motion, but probably looked spectacularly ridiculous. Sometimes a slow, meaningful clap, wait for it, slap. We started just randomly clapping twice without a clear shot, hoping the other person would forget about it by the time we had a chance. We had to set what amounted to a statute of limitations on the time from first clap to slap. 5 minutes, if I remember correctly. By then, we'd clap just to watch our siblings jump. Endless entertainment. We still do it now and then. The oldest is over 40, youngest mid-20s, and the next generation, 17 down to infant, has no idea what to think of it. I could probably think of dozens more, but this one came to mind first. 17-year-old. I don't like being with my family. My uncle slaps my butt and then everyone starts clapping. We always get each other cards for holidays and birthdays, but we make them the stupidest or most unrelated card possible. Like my mom gave me a card for my 18th birthday that was all about how she was proud of the strong black man that I had become. I'm white. My mom had gallbladder surgery and me and my brother got her a bunch of It's a Girl balloons. Lots of confused nurses asking us if we were looking for the maternity ward. We also try to get weird things written on cakes. Sorry about the test results was one that we thought was hilarious. It was only a mole, was another. A lot of people don't get it. I have tried extending it beyond my family. I got my friend a happy bat mitzvah card for her wedding. She was really confused and told me that neither her or her husband were Jewish. They also weren't turning 13. However, in college I had an Australian roommate and he had to have his appendix removed. I pulled the same stunt and got him a bunch of It's a Boy balloons. He said it was the funniest crap he had ever seen. All those balloons and confused doctors and nurses. This is my favorite, but I try to pull crap like this all the time so I may be a little biased. My brother and I were born in Scotland but immigrated to Canada at a young age. Neither of us have accents like our parents, but over time we have learned to imitate to perfection. Anytime we are joking with my parents, mocking them or asking for something, we use thick Scottish accents and slang. Also talk to our dog strictly with an accent. This made me think of a Tumblr post I saw where people found a lost dog with a tag that said donkey, but the dog would only respond if you said donkey like Shrek. My granddad was a very forceful character, and also a very bright man. Whenever anyone did anything smart he'd say she got that from me. He died 10 years ago, but we still reference that when something good happens. But through osmosis it now has spread to non-blood relatives and inanimate objects. My cousin's kid does a good drawing. Yup, got that from Opa Herman. My cousin's wife gets promoted, clearly thanks to Opa Herman. My car goes through the mow no problem. Opa Herman. I grew up thinking that crud Alan and butthole Glenn were common insults. Never gave them a second thought. Turns out my mom just really didn't like these two guys named Alan and Glenn. My father enjoys baiting D-list celebrities into arguments on Twitter, and they often do engage. My little brother used to watch a lot of TV, but we didn't realize what an impact it was having on him until he sincerely called a grocery cart a trolley. For some reason, he'd been watching the BBC almost exclusively. I'm so tired, but for some reason these three popped out at me. Southeastern US here, for reference. Didn't realize the impact Peppa Pig and Ben and Holly were having on my kids until I heard the terms ice lolly and zebra with a shorty. Whenever we drop someone off at their house at night, we have them flicker on and off the front porch lights to signal they are okay, in case of an intruder. My immediate family has something we call the frick you routine. I think it started when I was 12. My mom was mad at me. My dad told her to tell me frick you, and I love you. We still do it. My dad is having a lot of cognitive issues now that he is older. Recently I was visiting and we got into a big fight because he didn't want to do something that was really necessary for his health. He says to me, "Can I tell you something?" I knew exactly what he was going to say so I said sure, tell me. He said frick you and I said frick you too. Was actually comforting to know he remembered. Once my younger sister stopped believing in Santa. Around 15 years ago, my parents started making our Christmas presents from dogs that we knew. Our dog, our cousin's dog, our neighbor's dog. I think on this particular Christmas Eve, Mum and Dad were delirious and thought it would be funny, and it has stuck. My parents now have 3 chickens and they do all our Christmas shopping each year, apparently. I always get birthday cards presents from my dad's dog. I'm 47. Jeopardy every night. We always set it to record because sometimes we don't have time to watch it when it airs. Now we don't give the answer in the form of a question or keep score. It's not that extreme, but the person that gets Final Jeopardy gets high fives. When I'm away at school, my mom texts me the Final Jeopardy question, so I still get to play a little when I'm away. We play Psychic Jeopardy. When the category for Final Jeopardy is announced, you have to give your response during the commercial break before the answer question is revealed. Winning Psychic Jeopardy is amazing. When more guests arrive than expected, Mom uses a secret code for me and Dad. That is FHB, family hold back. This is done so that we eat less, and the extra unexpected guests don't run out of food. I need this for my husband who has the most annoying dip to chip ratio. I'd lay out snacks for guests and he would take a chip along with half of the bowl's dip in one bite. Sometimes I want to kill him. About 25% of my family has hearing loss and can't hear certain frequencies, so we are always yelling at each other. Whenever it's time to go pick out a Christmas tree from a lot, my brother, Dad, and I will walk in and grab one that is still wrapped up in twine, not open. Started about 6 years ago when we went a week before Christmas to get one because we all had been too busy to meet up, so pickings were slim. We decided to go with a wrapped one and love it regardless of its flaws that would be revealed when we got home. It was the ugliest dang tree you would ever see and we couldn't stop laughing. Pine tree roulette is fun and gives other trees a chance at a loving home. We've gotten 2 flawless ones in our years. It's fun to see what you'll get. You have to say goodnight to everyone in the house before you go to bed. If they're already asleep, you have to say it outside of their door just in case they may still be awake to hear it. I never thought anything of this until I spent the night at my ex's house and I wanted to say goodnight to his roommates. I seriously thought everyone did this. Anytime it is someone's birthday, we purposefully sing as badly as we can. It is hilarious. My mom usually ends up aggressively coughing because she thinks that is funnier than singing. At Christmas we sniff the presents before opening them. I don't know why, and most of the time they just smell like wrapping paper. It's been going on for over 20 years now. Until I was 23 I thought Tupperware was called McTainers instead of containers. My parents still have never justified why they have always only called them that, to the point I still slip up and call them McTainers regularly. This is just between my mother and myself, but every time I get the hiccups, she buys them from me. I'll start hiccuping and she makes a big fuss and throws up her arms. I suppose you want cash for those. Huh. She'll give me whatever spare change she can find in increasing amounts until I stop hiccuping. Usually I'll make about 50 cents, but one time I got $6 because she only had bills. She's the best. On the hiccup theme, when my sister was pregnant she started hiccuping often. She googled to find out why it was happening. One of the less reputable sources she found said something like, "You've been hiccuping all along and just now noticed." Now whenever either of us hiccups the other says, "You've been doing that all along," and the only proper response is, "Yeah, I've just now noticed." Was just talking about this last night with my siblings. We have Vietnamese names and all speak the language, but for some reason everyone pronounces my sister's and my name in English. We just forego the proper pronunciation and read it as it would if it were an English word. My dad named me and he has never once called me by the correct pronunciation. Dads. My dad thought my name was going to be a similar, but different name until it was on the birth certificate. He one day told me that my mom changed it from the planned name, but when I repeated that she just shouted, "You're named after my grandmother." It was never going to be the other name. My family flipped "I hate your guts" into "I love your guts." Also, we regularly adopt stupid funny autocorrects typos into our lexicon. Mom tried to type okie dokie once and it turned into Polkadome, so now we'll occasionally say Polkadome as a sort of I understand yes alright. When I was a kid, I lived with my grandmother for a few years when I was really small, like 2-5, and she started Mosty Toasty, as in, she would say I love you the Mosty Toasty and I would say I love you the Mosty Toasty too, then she would gasp really dramatically and say but don't you love mommy the Mosty Toasty, and I would panic and exclaim yes yes I do, I love you both the Mosty Toasty, but my grandmother would then say oh no, my name. You can only love one person the Mosty Toasty. You have to pick, and 90% of the time I would pick my mom and my grandmother would say that's okay. You're supposed to love her the Mosty Toasty. I still love you the Mosty Toasty though, and I would say I love you too, and if I picked my grandmother instead, she would tell me she was gonna call my mom and tell her that I didn't love her the Mosty Toasty anymore, and I would go no don't tell her that. I do love her the Mosty Toasty. I do it with my kids now, but only the eldest can really say it. My son is just shy of 2 years old, and somehow it became a contest. The first one to say I love you the Mosty Toasty wins. And you can do it any time of day. You can surprise attack with it and that's it. You've won for the day. My daughter's fond of nailing me with it right as she's walking out the door to the bus stop. We've also changed that there can be only one rule, to include others, so we can love more than one person the Mosty Toasty. This is adorable. We bring a sock monkey everywhere we go on vacation and take pictures of it in front of monuments, signs, etc. My mom is really the one keeping the tradition alive though. It should be kept alive. That is super cute. We have a distinct whistle to locate ourselves in places like stores or supermarkets. Mostly useful when we're traveling outside the country and have no phone service. We have a family tradition where if you make eye contact with someone while you are eating corn on the cob, you must finish eating that corn without looking away, blinking, or swallowing. It usually ends in corn being spewed, but it's plenty fun. We always announce when we have to poop. I'm terrified to bring a girl over for this reason. This one made me genuinely lol. My family always jokes about it afterwards. Man, lost some weight just now or had to take the Browns to the Super Bowl etc. Not sure how weird it is, but for as long as I can remember, Sunday was family day. It didn't even mean we had a specific activity we all did together. Just no one had plans with other people. We could all be in different rooms doing different things the whole day. It's never a house arrest kind of thing either. It's something everyone respects and actually looks forward to. Even now I'm away at college, and when I come home I never make plans on Sunday. On the strange occasion that there is some other event, I still ask permission from my parents out of courtesy. But of course they never tell me no. I guess it began to make sure we were an actual family and not just had the title. Well, it worked. They're my favorite people. Half is Russian, half is Finnish. Fistfights at Christmas are normal. Haha, my sister dated a deputy and he was on call Christmas night. A couple days later I saw him and he had a bruise on his cheek. Not quite a black eye. Apparently he was the first to a house where they needed 13 cops to break up a fight of like 24 Russians. All family members, in a brawl on Christmas Eve dinner. While on the phone, instead of saying bye we say bah or some variation boo or whatever. Not sure why. We always have, and people look at me weird when I'm on the phone with my mom and say alright love you but. Drawn out goodbyes. Leaving to go home? That will be several love you house. Call us when you get homes. At least 2 quick stories. And a random gift. Hanging up the phone? Same thing. Tell all the family members hi. 1 or 3 things I forgot to tell you. And a couple of see you soons. My husband eventually learned to start the process 10 minutes early due to the excessive leave taking. You're almost in the car. Let me now list for you every item in the fridge and offer to pack it up so you can take some home. We don't call them drinks. We only refer to them as beverages. Didn't realize this was weird until multiple friends pointed it out after I offered them a beverage. When I had my first breakup, my mom wanted to continue her family tradition of hot chocolate and hugs. Problem was, we didn't have hot chocolate. So, my mom came in with a glass of chocolate chips for me. Now every time I have a breakup, or a rough day in general, my mom does everything in her power to get me a glass of chocolate chips. Squeezing someone's hand 3 times means I love you. The usual response is to squeeze back 4 times for I love you too. Upon introduction, my granddad would toss china plates at prospective boyfriends of his daughters. Most of them would drop them and the whole family would make a disappointed ooh when it smashed, then act as if it never happened. One of the BFS deftly caught a plate and tossed it right back. My granddad, surprised, fumbled the catch and smashed it himself. That man is now my uncle. If we are all at home together, we sit down twice a day for an hour to drink tea, at 10 AM and 4 PM. The retirees do this every day. My father's side are all closeted atheists. Apparently, they all come out to me because I'm the hippie of the family. Whenever a new one admits it to me, I'll reassure them by saying is an atheist too, and they just shake their heads, disbelieving. None of them believe me that their brothers, sister, mother, father, children are also atheists. It's equally hysterical and frustrating. You should sit them all down and have a group intervention where you reveal that they all share the same terrible secret. We have the ability to hold 5 conversations at once at the dinner table, and drop in and out of each one as we please. It's like keeping your ear trained on what's being said around you, while keeping up your own convo. Also, my parents did a good job of giving us no shame, so we get weird, alert, or that when we go outdoors for a hike or something in the woods, we judge who had the most fun by who bled the most or the most interesting cause. Males from my dad's side, myself included, have a tooth gap between the front 2 teeth. After years of training and practice, we can spray water in a fine line upwards of 10-ish feet by simply pressing our tongue towards our teeth. You can get on America's Got Talent. Well, I guess it's more normal than most I see on here, but my mother's side of the family never tells each other's past, and I know next to nothing about any of my aunt and uncle's younger lives. My mum has 5 brothers and 4 sisters. I talk to about half of them. My one uncle is the most open as we kind of took similar paths in life and we have a lot in common. I go over and have some beer smoke like a chimney with him every few weeks and we naturally get to stories. But it's never about his sisters, his brothers, anyone in the family, only his own past. Even when I specifically ask him questions about family, he will, as they all do, say it's not my place to judge or say anything. I love them and their family. Unless they feel the need to tell you, their stories won't cross my lips. Of course it makes me curious as all heck what shenanigans they got up to, but I respect the heck out of them all for being so dang stoic and respectful of one another. Even though some of the siblings haven't spoken in years or don't like one another, it's a running joke with my friends. No one knows anything about the S. When us kids were smaller, our idea of a fun family day was to go swimming and take our turn in Scrabble between jumps into the pool. That sounds hella fun. OP here. For the longest time, I assumed all family members were allowed to have trigger points. For example, my younger sis took her food very seriously. I once nearly got stabbed for eating her cake. Parents told me that was my sister's trigger point and it was the one thing they wouldn't fault her for. Meanwhile, my dad's trigger point is sleep. Mom made it clear we were forbidden from disturbing dad whenever he was sleeping, or he might hit us. Mom's trigger point is her Korean drama. She made it clear that we were forbidden from disturbing her when she was watching her dramas. They then allowed me to choose my trigger point. I chose gaming, and announced I would react violently if anyone disturbed me when I was playing my computer games. My family allowed it. It wasn't until recently when I was talking to others about trigger points that they asked me WTF I was talking about, and that it sure as heck wasn't normal to yell at someone for disturbing your game of Dota. Almost all the men are colorblind, so at family gatherings we would play guess that color. Hilarious family fun. My grandfather would always turn on all the lights at their house whenever we would drive to visit. I found myself doing the same, making sure they know which house to stop at. Whenever you go to leave the driveway after a big event at our house, you always give 2 quick little honks, kind of a last goodbye to the people in the house. Over the years I'm the oldest, 5 younger siblings kinda settled into our spot at the table at my parents' house. Even as all of us kids have grown and moved out, when we visit, we sit in the same spot we always did. Even if not everyone is there and we could sit closer together, we always default to our spot. My parents, when they brush their tongue whilst brushing their teeth, would gag really loudly. I thought this was fucking normal when I was a kid until I went out to play one day and could hear my dad gag from 2 houses over. Every kid in my street must have thought we were deep throating each other lol. We only had one bathroom growing up. My dad always gagged when he brushed his tongue, and several times while I was standing beside him doing my makeup or brushing my teeth he would throw up into the sink. He would laugh so hard as I ran away gagging. Good times. We all pretend everything is dandy but never speak. We have 6 cats and we pretend they have human lives and jobs, and we pick favorites. My dad's cat is a country singer and my cat is a lumberjack. We have a cat of the month contest. We only have one cat but he rarely wins BC at bad behavior. It's a holdover from when I had 2 cats but one moved in with my ex, so now it's just one. The contest remains ongoing. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.